Hello everyone, and good time of day. My name's Pinkerton. I made this video to address something woefully underrepresented in the tabletop role-playing game community in my opinion, that being sincerity as a player and GM around the table and behind the characters. This will be a brief overview, but if you'd like a deeper discussion, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to respond to them when I can. An act of sincerity is pretty simple. It's whenever you approach something in good faith and engage honestly to the best of your ability. When we look at art, this concept is incredibly crucial. That being said, we must first agree that TTRPGs and the games we play in them are a form of art. If you disagree with this notion, I'd recommend going outside and looking at nature until you develop a sense of beauty. Samwise Gamgee and Haru Urara are very common examples of sincere characters, almost to a fault. They're at least the first ones that came to my head. Art fundamentally requires a two-way exchange of vulnerability and sincerity. A piece of art that asks nothing of the viewer will, in turn, give nothing back. Likewise, a viewer who refuses to open themselves up to a piece of art is actively choosing to gain nothing from it. Modern art is very often considered to be completely meaningless, but oftentimes people are so affronted by it that they just choose not to really engage. A perfect example of this would be the image in the top right, that being Portrait of Ross in LA. Without any of the context behind it, people are kind of just confused on why there's a large pile of candy in the corner, but once you actually and understand the meaning behind it and what it fully represents and allow that to give self-reflection, it can turn out to be one of the most damning pieces of art you've ever seen. It's imperative that all players choose to have a mutual understanding of why they're playing a game or interacting with a piece of art in the first place, and what the expectation is to get out of it. Otherwise, your sessions, and really any piece of art you interact with, will be miserable. This is one of the main reasons you should always have a session zero with your group, even if you've been best friends for 15 years. If you think that you can understand someone like the back of your hand after playing for this long, there's a good chance you'd be able to, but people change and things and context changes. So it's better to err on the safe side just to make sure everyone can have a good time with one another. An absolutely essential example of this would be the business card scene from American Psycho, whenever everyone's going around the table discussing their business cards and Patrick Bateman's freaking out the whole time. On the surface, it's an incredibly silly concept. Grown men are comparing their business cards and one is getting particularly angry about it. But the actors play with a deathly seriousness. Their sincerity is what makes the scene unnerving, not really the content of it. And Christian Bale commits to the bit completely, making it so impactful. What does this mean for us, though? First and foremost, you owe it to yourself and your fellow players to try and be sincere. You volunteered hours of your time for this game. Why waste it by not engaging fully? Would you attend the opera just to play a gacha game on your phone the whole time? If you would, I would be deathly afraid of you. I'd imagine this is the table group you'd want to be with. Sincerity looks different depending on your genre. In a comedy, it means understanding when it's appropriate to say yes and being willing to engage with the narrative, no matter how ridiculous it seems. In a tragedy, it means allowing your characters to be who they are, flaws and all, and embracing the emotional weight of their journey. Most long-term players can attest to how some of the most engaging, tragic, hilarious, and memorable moments of their games come from the group playing it completely straight. Undercutting a powerful moment with a disdainful quip, or worse yet, a movie reference, makes the whole scene feel hollow and reminds you that you're a person in a chair rather than a character in a fantastic tale. Yes, we've all done it, and sometimes it was even funny, but keep time and place in mind if you can. If the group enjoys banter, feel free, but please have empathy in these situations and make sure that it is something that everyone enjoys and not people just accepting it. This respect should also extend to and be followed by the GM. They've put in countless hours preparing the world, the story, and encounters for you. The least you can do is meet their effort with your own. Most importantly, being sincere respects yourself as an artist. What you're doing is a creative act. By being sincere, you're giving yourself freedom to create something meaningful with real weight and memory. When you play in good faith, the choices you and your players make will have a real impact, not just their character, but on them as people. In my experience, the stories you tell together will be brought up by friends in diners or Discord calls for years to come. I want to bring up a unique example that the old heads might use to prove me wrong. The tabletop game Hackmaster. The game's famously known for being intentionally unfair and overly complicated. A good friend of mine has been wanting to try and run this game for years, and while it seemed absolutely fascinating, I still dreaded the thought every day of having to actually go through with it. But I wanted to, because my friends asked me to play, and it seemed like an interesting venture into something I'd never experienced before. This game is kind of a nightmare. The image here is the player's handbook, but for the true experience, you should really look at the Dungeon Master's handbook. The game's known famously for being very unfair and overly complicated. It even has rules that lie to your face as a player and are designed to waste everyone's time. If you're able to, I'd recommend opening up another tab and looking at the Hackmaster Combat Wheel, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about this game. But here's the thing. When you sit down to play Hackmaster, you've made a conscious choice to do so. You know what you're getting into, and the social contract of the game, as absurd as it is still one that everyone at the table has signed. And this just proves the point. Even when the game itself is designed to be insincere, the sincerity of the players and the GM is what makes it work. It's the shared, honest understanding that this is a game we're playing. The TLDR, we've all signed the social contract that we'll pretend to play with silly rocks. The least you can do is take it seriously. Have fun with your friends and really lean into the roleplay, even if it feels hammy or embarrassing. Learn to say something true and beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I want to give an extra thank you to Extra NOC PNO on Twitter for providing the tools for this avatar. I've provided a link here. I've been listening to a lot of new music recently, but I would recommend the song Shake My Hand, Look in My Eye by the band Rinse and Repeat on their album O. This YouTube channel is fairly new for me. I wanted a platform where I can just yap about TTRPG opinions, and my group, they've heard it for years and years, so I might as well make y'all suffer through mine as well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know in the comments, or video ideas. I'd be very happy to. Thank you again for watching, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.